Hello and welcome back to our last geography lesson of this week. And we're going to continue to look at OS maps, a few symbols on them, but also look at why they're useful and what we can do with them. So we're going to look at more, we're going to go through the answers from the end of the last lesson and see what we can find. So, sorry about the wiggliness. So last lesson, this was the map we looked at, and we were looking at six-figure grid references. So we had the eastings along the bottom, the northings up here, and obviously we split them into 10 to see what we can find. So what symbol can be found in 7134? So right at the top up here, and that's a quarry or a set of cliffs. But if you were using things, it'd be a quarry. What symbol can be found at 692337? Well, that's 692337, or close enough to it. And that's the PH, which means public house. Remember, all of these symbols were on one of the slides from the last lesson, so you could have that up and look at it. I would say it's probably useful to have that open, paused on that screen, because it's going to help with doing some stuff today as well, and what you're going to do your task for today as well. What symbol can be found at 681? So 681, which is here, 318, which is there. It's a public telephone or a telephone. And then we're asking for a six-figure grid reference for the bus or coach station, which is this here. So we're looking at 69.2 roughly and 33.2 roughly. And then the battlefield, and this is the battlefield right up here. So we're looking at 70 roughly 5, 75 and 34, 1 or 2. And that will be where you go. Remember, you can have leeway either side roughly as to what you might put down for the six-figure reference, because there is a judgment thing, but it would be around those. Okay, so if you've ever travelled by aeroplane, you might have looked out the window and seen something that looks like this image here. And this is the view of a village or town as you fly over the top. It's called an aerial view. And whilst the view is great, you can't tell what you're looking at easily. You might be able to tell some roads or some bigger buildings, but whether you know what they are or what they're there for, you might not know. So could you, by looking at this photo here, find the local post office or the nearest school? Well, it would be definitely very hard, because there's nothing to guide you in the right direction. And this is why OS maps are really useful, or just maps in general are useful, because they can give you that information. So here's the aerial photo alongside an OS map. This is called a linear village. And what a linear village means is that most of the buildings are built along one stretch of road. So it's one of those ones when you're traveling on a road, you pass through the entirety of the village just along one road, and there's not very many roads that come off of it. So you can see the map and the aerial photo of those. On these, you should be able to make out the roads. You look at the OS map, they're in yellow, and you can see them here. And can you see those roads on the aerial photo? Well, yes, if you look carefully, they follow exactly the same pattern as the OS map does. Coming across here and coming across there. And that's because they're using quite a good system by which they map these out. In fact, you've even got slight differences in thickness, and you've got that curve, and you've got that triangle area up here. So it's quite a good way of showing them, and it's quite easy to see the similarities between them. And you can use parts of that in order to get your bearings from the map, which is this one, to the aerial photo. You can use those roads as kind of guides. So using those roads as guides, you can see that there's lots of buildings in the aerial photo, but you might not know what those buildings are useful for or where they are. And if you were walking along the road, you wouldn't necessarily know where the post office was, where the school is, or where the church is. But if you had the map alongside you, you might be able to find out. So have a look at the school, the post box, and the church. Can you roughly find where they are on the map, on the aerial photo? Have a quick go. Well, the church is nice and easy because it's in that little bend of the road, so it's here. And you can see it's got a churchyard around it. The post office is quite difficult, but we know that it's just as the bend bows round, so it would be in this area here, and you would know roughly where to go to. The school, you can actually see here, and you can see the playground of the school more than anything. This concrete area here. There's one of the school buildings, and there's another of the school buildings here. And you can see those two buildings there and there. So you can pick out really quite interesting details and know what they are when you compare both of these two. So once again, this is quite a dense town. You can see there's lots and lots of buildings from both the OS map and the aerial photo. But once again, we can see those roads, and those roads give us some reference points as to where we are. So can you just quickly look between the two, check that the roads, you're happy with where they are? Right. So because of our knowledge of our symbols, hopefully, we could find 3 schools on the map. Can you find those the same 3 schools on the photo? I'll go through it in a minute, but have a go. See what you can find. Okay, so our first school is up here, look. And if we look where that is on the photo, it's here. You've got the playground out the front and the school building's here. Our next school is here, quite dense, quite an odd shaped building, just near this circular sports ground. There's the circular sports ground, the other side of the road. And there is our school playground here, buildings here. Our final one is here, opposite this playing field, the sports ground here, probably linked to the school, and this one's probably linked to the school to be fair as well. And we've got this building shape here, which is actually really easy to see because there's the building shape, look. And there's that field that they've got at the front there. So you can quite easily see the differences between the two. Here's another one. So in this one, we can continue to find more information about an area. So Britherthorpe grew as a town because of the local mine. Workers from the mine lived in the houses in the town. Is this still true? So using your knowledge of where the mine would be on 1, can you see what might give you that idea whether it is still true or not? I'll show you. There's the mine, and it now says disused, which means the mine isn't in use. And you look over here, there's the mine. You see no machinery there, hardly at all. It's not an open mine. You can see that it is not in use anymore. So south of the mine, you can see the symbols for some trees. Why do you think the trees are planted between the town and the mine? Have a think. Well, the reason they might be built there is a barrier so that the air pollution and noise pollution is stopped by the line of trees. Here, it also stops the view from the town of that mine. Multiple different reasons it could be there, but those are the most likely ones. Here is a really densely populated part of a map. You can see that by the amount of buildings in our OS map and how busy it is. So many old cities and towns grew up around rivers. Here you can see on our aerial photograph the river as it runs through here. You can see the same river as it comes round here and out that way. Think about our invaders topic. Think back to the Vikings. Why is that? Can you think of a reason why that might be? Ease of transport, moving up, trade, fresh water. There's lots of reasons why you might build on a river. So being able to get around a new place is important. So do you think using the OS map and some symbols you might know, can you find the following means of transport? Can you find a railway station, a bus station, a boat hire, and a bicycle hire? I'll give you a minute. Okay, so first off, we have the railway station. Here it is, red dot, and you can tell that's also got, you see that long black line, that's the railway line. And actually, there it is, that long black line that travels up there, that's it. And this here is our train station. And in fact, might not be, but it could be a train coming in there. The next one's the bus station. That's this symbol here, and it will be somewhere in here. It's slightly harder to see, but it might be this long building somewhere here. Then we're looking at a boat hire, and actually the boat hire is written in blue. It's here, boat hire, and it's somewhere on the river just around here. And the same with cycle hire. You can see it here, written in blue. There it is, and it'll be somewhere in this area here. So sometimes it's symbols, sometimes it'll be writing, depending on the frequency of that thing occurring. Okay, so your task is to design your own town or village. You're going to use the OS symbols from the last lesson, and you're going to draw a map to show a small town or village. And this, you're free to design it how you like. You can use OS maps to help you, but try and make it your own. Try and make it interesting. See what you can use, what different symbols you can use. You need to include at least one main road and minor roads to reach homes and businesses. You need to think about where the houses would be, where there might be a school or multiple schools, depending on how large your map is. A post office, remember the symbol for a post office, whether you need more than one. A place of worship, so you could have multiple of those as well. Public telephones, where they're placed. Are there very many or are there not? A campsite, and I assume this will be outside of your town, somewhere on a road coming in or out of town. Some sort of water, so either a river, a lake, a pond, or something along those lines, an extra geographical feature on our map. Some trees, some farmland or parkland. Public transport, so a train or a bus. Remember, the train will also have a train line associated to it, the long black line. Plus anything else you would like to include. Now, this implies that there needs to be colour in your map as well. So try to include that. What I would suggest is you draw your map first. You can then, in the end, put a grid over the top of it in order for it to be able to then be labelled, and you could use your grid references to find certain places. Now, you have not just now the part of this entire afternoon, day, you've got in order to try and do this the best you possibly can. What Mr. Bradshaw would really, really like is a really great map using everything we know about OS maps, looking back at the stuff we've looked at, think about the villages we've looked at in the aerial photographs and as a map. Because what he wants to do is put a display up in our breakout area of some of the best maps that people can do. So take your time, don't rush. Think about the colours coming from the OS map, how you're going to put them on, where they're going to be, and how you're going to show it. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing some of these. I think they could be brilliant. So try your best. Spend your afternoon nice and calm, no computer on, no screens on. And just take time creating your map for me. Have fun. And I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.